And we are live. Let's just wait for everybody to join. And hopefully you guys follow me on Instagram. If you do not follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Link down there in the description. Let's see here. So it looks like we got everybody joining in. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Any of my, let's see, a very small segment of the people that watch this channel are high school and college students, but I assume that a lot of you guys that are in high school or college are probably getting out right now for the year. Let's see, it's today's what, May 17th. So usually school ends around this time. So congrats to all you guys that are about to start your summer break. Any of you guys out there. And as always, we got a lot to talk about. Okay, it looks like we got a lot of people joining now. So I've started buying a new stock. I'm not ready to let that stock be known yet, but I started buying a new stock earlier this week. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag yet. Not going to talk about it yet, but I started buying a new stock. And the other thing I can't also talk about is I'm working on this massive secret project, something I've never done ever. Like, this is like top secret stuff. So I can't talk about that anyways, but today I just want to kind of take Q&A from you guys, stock market, passive income, entrepreneurship, any of those type of questions, mainly stock market and passive income. You guys want to, ask questions around that. That's kind of where we're going to be going today with today's Q&A and whatnot. And I hope you guys enjoy this live stream. I was kind of talking about all that stuff. So let's get into the Q&A. I'm going to try to slow down the questions as always so I can get to as many of them as possible because sometimes they pop up too fast and whatnot. So let's see what we got. Hello, guys. Hello. A lot of people saying, hey, hope you guys are doing great. JK Rhodes 94, man, you must have an insight on something. What are good side hustles in Vegas? Man, there's so many good side hustles in Vegas. Well, I mean, like, think about it, like, online's the way to go, man. Like, do passive income stuff online. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more opportunity than doing something physical, whether you, even if you live in a city like Las Vegas, like I live in, like, dude, like it's all about online because you can tap into people all over the world. Like, it's incredible. Like, you can find people all over the world. Like, imagine if I was trying to start something where I was trying to get people to come watch me speak about the stock market and passive income just in Las Vegas. Like, there'd be hardly anybody here, but I could do this online on YouTube and there's like a huge community. So do stuff online, man. Online's where it's at. Let's see. Is it worth staying invested into the S&P 500? It's pretty much always like worth it to stay in the S&P 500 or stocks in general, just for the mere fact that over time the economy gets bigger, companies get bigger, more profitable. As artificial intelligence picks up, these companies just get more and more profitable. They figure out better ways to do things. Companies that once were thought of to never be able to reach like $500 million market cap, now it seems like very possible. And now, like, companies are getting close to $1 trillion market caps because of, the way businesses can grow and whatnot. Now it's just, the world's just been changed, so it's pretty much always a good time to invest. Let's see what we got here. Let me try to go up here in the questions a bit and see what we got. Apple, I think somebody's asking about Apple. Apple's like always a great stock, especially with the way their profitability is going up. Negative equity in L Brands. I get some questions around that. So L Brands, one thing is they got around $2 billion in cash on that balance sheet. First off. Second, a lot of their debt, a lot of L Brands debt is due like a decade or past a decade from now. So at the same time, they could refinance that debt at super low interest rates. Let's assume it's a decade from now. Maybe they would have to go at a much higher interest rate. Who knows where interest rates will be at that time. But most of their debt is not due for a long, long time. Super profitable business. So, I don't really worry about that. But I do get questions about that. So I want to address it. But $2 billion in cash on the balance sheet, like, it's going to get you through a rainy day. Never mind that when you're that profitable of a company, like, that's going to help out too. Greetings from Israel. I love the content. Greetings. Let's see what we got. Do you own any real estate properties? I do not. I probably will someday, but right now I don't. I'm just all about stock market investing right now. If it got to a place where I thought real estate was really undervalued and stocks were really overvalued and I couldn't find deals in stocks, I probably would go real estate route. But at this point in time, no, like, I just invest in stocks. That's pretty much what I do. What is your view on Urban Outfitters? I don't really have a view on Urban Outfitters. I looked in the business many years ago. At that time, they were trading at a pretty steep valuation, but lots changed. I would have to re-look into them. Haven't looked into them in a while. Let's see what else we got here. Financial education. Can I invest as a 16-year-old or any passive income? Well, you can absolutely do passive income. Any passive income pretty much you want to do online, you can make money from that. As far as investing, usually you have to have a parent. If you're under the age of 18, usually you have to go through a parent. Like I think it's called a custodial account or something like that, that you usually have to go through. I started investing when I was 18 already, so I didn't have to go through that process. But if you want to start already, then that's the route you should go. But mainly right now, since you're really young, just focus on learning the game and understanding things and whatnot. All right, Jeremy, please, 2 quick questions. John Ledger says, should I invest in Toll? and I have 43,000. I am 45. I'll never tell anybody to invest in a certain stock. I don't give specific. I don't say, guys, go buy this stock or sell that stock. I talk about what stocks I'm buying, but I'll never tell you to go buy a stock. That's up to you. Like if you want to buy Toll Brothers and you believe in the business long term, buy the business. I believe in it long term. It's a low PE company. Housing is very strong right now. It probably will continue to be strong, but at the same time, like, do what you want with your money. You got to believe in yourself. Like, if you're in stocks and you're looking for people's opinion, like, it's probably not the right thing to be involved with. Like, you got to believe in yourself, because if that stock goes down, you got to trust your judgment at the end of the day, not my judgment or anyone else's. More pain tomorrow. What do you think about trade war and new $200 billion tariff? Not too much thoughts around that. I mean, the trade war, it is what it is. There's tough talk going to be going back and forth. That's just the way it is. It's a climate. It's a distraction, in my opinion, from what companies are actually doing, and the company earnings are unbelievable. So, yeah, that's what it is. What was the number one thing that clicked and blew up your channel? There was never one video that blew up my channel. There was never anything. Like, you look at even my best video I've ever had in the history of this channel, I think it has like 300,000 views, like ever, like in the history of the channel. I've never had a viral video that's like went crazy and got millions of views or something. It's just been consistent, just consistency, and just building out the base, and just getting more people involved and whatnot, and inspiring people to invest in passive income and take their money up to the next game. That's what it's about. Well, there was never no one ever put me on, never done a collaboration, nothing. So it just is what it is. Your life-changing book. There's no book that's life-changing. You got to change your own life. What's happening with Tesla? Well, obviously, I'm long-term bullish Tesla. I do not own any shares in the stock, but I believe in that company a lot for the long term. I think they're doing some amazing things over there. I think they're going to still go through short-term troubles. They're doing hard stuff, man. Like, the stuff they're trying to pull off, like, that's not easy, man. That's not easy stuff. So they will probably continue to, have troubles there. Oh, somebody gave a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat, Artem. Thank you, Jeremy, or thank you for the videos, Jeremy. They teach a ton of info. Thank you for being here. I'm happy that you can learn from me. And thank you for the $5 super chat. Have you ever invested in foreign companies, like European ones? Because you see, I am very U.S. focused. European companies, I was in BP for a while, which is a European oil company. And then I'm trying to remember. There was another European company or two I was involved with. But mostly on U.S. companies. There's so many companies here in the States that it's insane, guys. There's so many companies here in the States to invest in that are doing big things that it's like a lot of times I don't even get to look overseas much, because I'm so busy with looking into companies here. It's insane. So, all right. What would you say the top three, Dan H says, what would you say the top 3 areas are to invest? For example, tech, medicine, clothing. Tech, because tech is so big now. Like think about it. Like almost every company's kind of a tech company. Like, even if they don't sell directly tech products, like their business is pretty much dictated based upon tech. So, almost everything's considered tech now, but tech obviously is always going to be the main one to go with. As far as in tech, semiconductor companies are trading at low valuations right now. A lot of, Skyworks Solutions. Obviously, you guys know I love Cirrus Logic for the long term. A lot of those type of companies. Qualcomm has some big questions with Apple there, but they're trading at a really low valuation. And you look at 5G pushing out, they're going to be probably the biggest player there. Semiconductors kind of has my attention right now. Let's put it that way. JJ Buckner, any advice for new YouTubers? Any advice for new YouTubers? Well, I could give a lot of advice to new YouTubers. The main thing is be consistent, be authentic, be true to yourself, and Have good thumbnails. That's good. Well, my thumbnails are garbage, so I shouldn't even say I have good thumbnails. My thumbnails are like me standing there making a pose and like putting some text up. So that's probably not even true. I don't know. Just be yourself. Be authentic. Be consistent. Try to be daily. That's a big thing. Like try to push daily. Let's see. Do you like Acorns app? Don't use it, so don't know. Let's see. Just so you know, I never hit next on your ad videos. You're welcome. Not sure what that means. Apple or Amazon or Baba. I'll personally Apple, but who knows? Amazon could beat them out. Baba's got a great opportunity, and that's a company that's going to grow for a long time into the future at a pretty high growth rate. Man, but I would go with Apple just because the profits are insane and they should continue to expand them. What do you think about weed stocks? I think they're interesting. I think they're highly speculative, most of them. Can you make a lot of money on them? Yeah. Could you lose a massive amount of money on them? Yeah. Highly speculative, the weed stocks right now. Some of them have great upside. It just depends. If you have a real good insight on why one of these stocks is really going to succeed, like you have an insight, type thing, like maybe you can make a lot of money there, but I'm just going to say be careful with a lot of those guys. Be careful. Do you believe General Electric will ever bounce back? Why or why not? Philip London says, oh, General Electric probably. They'll probably bounce back. When it is, who knows? That business is a mess of a business. They own a lot of different product lines and not very focused and whatnot. We're going to try to get up here a bit to a little more recent questions here. Hey, J Mason 105 says, hey, I just started investing about 6 months ago. Right now, I currently make about 50 grand a year. How much money should I be putting into my investment account? Thanks. I would say put as much as you feel comfortable. Don't go crazy with it, especially if you're kind of in the beginner stage. Like don't worry about going crazy right off the bat. The great thing is when I started investing, I had hardly any money. Like my first investment was probably $200 or $300. I was working at Walgreens making, $8.75 an hour or whatever. So when I started investing, I had hardly any money. So that was perfect. Some of you guys that are making pretty good money and maybe can throw off $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month right off the bat, I would say just be careful. Go fishing a little bit, put some money in and see how you're feeling. And then if you get to a place where you're feeling really comfortable, then you can start putting $1,000 a month into it, $2,000 a month. But just get comfortable first. Make sure you're sure about yourself before you start, dumping a ton of money into the stock market accounts. You never want to go all in right off the bat, especially if you have a considerable amount of money saved up. And at the same time, real quick, you don't ever want to go too small that you lose interest in it or something like that. That's another big thing. Dan H says, what do you think about the start of advanced robotics? Are there any companies that are strong in this area? I haven't looked into it in depth to really talk about that. Thoughts on Aurora? I know it's a highly hyped stock. I don't really have any thoughts around it specifically. If I recall, it's another weed stock. But yeah, top five books. Man. Well, Intelligent Investor would be up there. Rich Dad, Poor Dad comes to mind. Those are the two books that always, when I think of the best books, I think Intelligent Investor, I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Let's see what else we got here. What do you think of Square buying Weebly? I'm bullish on this company over the next 3 years, so I'd like to know what your thoughts. I haven't looked too much into the deal yet. I saw they did make that deal, but I haven't looked into it enough. Square's trading at a really high valuation right now. They do have some great things going, but man, that stock, it's gone up insane. I think it's gone up 500 or 600% or something in the past, let's say 2 years or so. So, not saying it can't go up more, but I'd just say, be careful with that one. Let's see what else we got here. R. Mason, hey, what do you think of being an employee and an investor? It works. I was an employee for many years, and I was an investor. You can do it. And sometimes if you work in certain industries, you can have insights to companies that you might not otherwise have those insights to. So it can definitely work. It just depends. If you want to be an employee. But you can certainly invest. Let's see. Mario Garcia says, would you recommend individual stock picking or mutual funds? Depends. If you want to put in the work, stock picking. Okay. If you want to put in the work and you got the type of mental maturity that you can handle, a stock going down 10% in a day or 20% in a day, and you got $10,000 invested in that stock and you lose 1,000 or 2,000, which technically isn't totally lost. It's like if you sold that day, yeah, it's lost, but in the short term, like if you can handle, stock movements up, down, all around, then and you got the work ethic, stocks is the way to go. Individual stock picking. If you don't have that type of mental maturity and you don't have that type of work ethic to look into companies, 10Ks, 10Qs, conference calls, do all the work, then mutual funds is fine. Index funds, that type of thing. Okay. At what price would you consider selling L brands? No real price specifically comes to mind because it's a position I plan on holding for years and years. I mean, I suppose if tomorrow it was $80 a share or something, I might sell out. But like, I don't even have a price in mind on when I'll sell L brands because I just started buying in that stock a month or two ago, and it's now my biggest position, and I plan on holding it for several years. So I haven't even thought about when I'm going to sell that stock yet. What do you think about investing in Etsy? Etsy is a very interesting company. They've expanded big into Target. Like Target's, I think, their biggest customer, if I recall. But I know their stocks dropped a lot. I'll have to relook into it. Last time I checked, they were trading at like a 80 PE or something like that. But that was a while back, like a little after they went IPO and whatnot. So I'll have to relook into it. Let's see. Baba Ops, hey Jeremy, no question. Just want to say thanks for sharing all your knowledge and doing what you do. You help me out and really inspire me. That is, I'm very happy to hear that. I'm gonna try to get a little bit up in the chat here. Finance Daily gave a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat, Finance Daily. Hey, I'm starting a finance related channel. Please give me a shout. Also check out MNK. Good evaluation right now. Thanks. Awesome. Well, thank you for the $5 super chat there, Finance Daily. Phoenicia or something like that gave me a $5 super chat. Your opinion on SWCH in Vegas? SWCH in Vegas? I don't know what you're talking about. SWCH in Vegas. I'm sorry, I don't even know what that is in Vegas. SWCH in Vegas. I don't know, but thank you for the $5 super chat. I wish I knew what that was so I could give you my opinion on it, but I'm not sure what it is. Tio Poker, a very common person in the comments, says better thumbnails will get you viral like Ryan Scribner. I know Ryan, man, he's had some crazy viral videos. Oh my goodness, Ryan's like tearing it up. He had a video that he posted, it was like 2 weeks ago, and it got over 1 million views, like crazy numbers. Like, congrats to him. Let's see, next one down here. I feel richer than Warren Buffett because Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I know 100% that it's that's good, awesome. PayPal or Micron? Two opposite stocks on opposite sides of the spectrum. Micron's obviously a super value play at a 4 forward P or whatever. PayPal is high growth, and I think it's interesting. I think PayPal, if I recall, owns Venmo, and man, I don't know. There's a lot of banking competition coming in that space. PayPal's just not a stock I could have buy myself, but I'm like, they do have a big opportunity in front of themselves, but not a stock I'm too interested in. Let's see. Alexander says, how bad is it when a CEO is selling his stocks? Is that a stock going down? Well, okay, let me share my full thoughts around on a CEO selling shares because it is an important topic. So, a CEO sells shares of a stock. First off, CEOs, executives in general, a lot of their compensation is in, stock-based compensation, stock options, and things like that, okay? So, if you're CEO of a company and you want to go buy a big house or whatever you want to do, or land or whatever, or diversify some of your income or whatever, okay? Sometimes you got to sell some shares of stock, all right? So I wouldn't say look at it as a negative all the time. Like sometimes these guys just want to go do something fancy, buy a yacht or something. Like who knows? It's none of our business what they want to do. But sometimes that's just the case, okay? And so what are they going to do? They're going to probably sell some shares in stock, get that money so they can go do what they want. So that's one part. But if you see, a CEO selling out all of his shares, might be a little worrisome. And at the same time, some executives just don't like to own a lot of shares of the stock, and they don't really care to, and that's fine as well. So I wouldn't put too much weight in it unless you see all the executives selling out mass shares, and have no ownership. Maybe that's a company you want to stay away from. I personally like management teams that have big ownership stakes in a company because generally our goals are aligned. They want to make money over the long term in their stock. I want to make money long term in the stock. So that's kind of my opinion there. And if you see a CEO buying shares heavy in the open market, generally that's a pretty bullish sign. I've seen very few instances where a CEO buys a ton of shares in the open market and that stock doesn't go up over the long term. I've seen very few instances of that, guys. All right. Duke Shadows, hey, it's your QT pal trying to do exactly what you're doing. Clerk saved up 3,000 so far. Congrats, that's awesome. Jeremy, can you do a series on stocks from different countries, like five top Dutch stocks, five top five Japan stocks? Probably not, but it's always a possibility. Hey, nice to see you. What do you think of Disney? Great company. I always get questioned about Disney all the time. Great company. It's going to be here long term. The biggest thing for Disney is how does that streaming service come out? They have a streaming service coming out in 2019. How is that going to compete against Netflix? Is that going to be a serious competitor? Is that just them kind of messing around there, not taking it as serious? We got another $5 super chat from Artem. Thank you so much. Hey again, do you follow a certain routine daily or weekly to look for stocks? And if this will not take too much time, can you describe your routine? I don't really have a routine, I wouldn't say. It's just like I don't like specifically like, oh, today at 10 a.m. I'm going to look for stocks. No, there's nothing like that. It just depends on, if I get some free time, I'm going to, look for some stocks out there. And also, so I look at Stock Tracker app. I'm just trying to look at stocks making moves up or down, maybe look into them a bit from there. CNBC app, see if they're mentioning any specific stocks that are making moves that I want to look into. Maybe I saw something online or, in a store or something. And I'm like, man, I got to look into that company. It depends on how the ideas come to me. They come to me from a lot of different ways, and then I just look into them. It might be 3 a.m. I might be looking at a stock. It might be, after this live stream, I might be looking at a stock. I don't have a specific routine though. Let's see here. What do you think of AT&T? Pretty lame company for the most part, but it pays a great dividend, and it's probably going to be a highly relevant company 5-10 years from now. So, but pretty lame company. What's a good percent profit each year, you think? And any opinions on PayPal? I already shared my opinions on PayPal. Good percentage, well, it depends. So basically, let's assume the markets go up 8% per year. Basically, you should try to at least get 10% a year, okay? If you're going to do really good, you're going to get 20% plus, and that's very possible. Warren Buffett did that for decades and decades and decades. And even in markets that were pretty weak. And I would say he probably would still get that type of return, but the problem is he has such big amounts of money now that he can't even invest in the majority of companies. He has to only pick like super large companies. So I would say if you work really hard, you got the right strategy, you got the right mindset, you can do 20% plus per year consistently. Are there some years you might miss that? Yeah. Are there some years you might do 30, 40, 50%? Yeah. You look at last year, the markets were up 20+%. So if you were outperforming the market, you probably did 30, 40+%. So that's good, but don't focus too much on it in your first couple of years. Start focusing on that more like when you hit year 3, 5, and whatnot, and then kind of take into account past years, how you've done and whatnot. Let's see what else we got here. GOGGG says, what do you think about swing trading? Not something I do. I lost a lot of money trying to short-term trade in 2015. Anybody that's been on this channel a long time knows that. I wouldn't recommend it, but who knows? Maybe you can make money from it. Would you ever invest in private equity? It's possible. But I mean, like I said, guys, I'm so into stocks, and there's so many stocks all the time that I feel are undervalued, that it's for me to look into private equity, real estate, and whatnot, and start doing those type of things, it would just have to get to a point where stocks just weren't attractive to me, which is possible. It could happen, but it's not right now. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. I'm going to go up a little bit in the chat here. Nicholas Perry says, who is an OG subscriber of Jeremy? Hopefully we got some here. The Financial Wolf says, I'm 50. Recently, but I don't know what the best stock is to get if you're still young. If you're still young and you're learning, like focus on bigger type companies, focus on a lot of the Dow 30, S&P 500 companies. And mainly, if you're 15, like just focus on learning the game and whatnot, and studying, getting good habits early. That's big, guys. Get in good habits early, like 10K reading, 10Q reading, conference call listening. Get in those type of habits early on in your investing game, and they'll stick with you for years to come. So the worst part is when people get in bad habits right off the bat, and it just throws their whole game off. Like bad habits are hard to break, man. Bad habits are hard to break. Start in good habits when you're young, and it's going to carry you for a long time. Anything interesting says, what do you think about the possibility of a crash, and do you think it's still worth investing in companies at all-time highs? Well, it depends on if the company is at an all-time high and they got great things going for them. For instance, well, Nvidia I don't think is at an all-time high anymore, but Amazon's probably approaching that and whatnot, and Apple and whatnot. But some of those companies, if they got huge growth trajectories ahead of them, it doesn't matter if they're at an all-time high because they still got so much growth ahead of them, you know. So that's the kind of the way you look at it. You know, and crashes are always possible, but the economy would have to go really south in order to have a crash, a real crash, like, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50% down in stocks. The economy would have to go really south. I don't see that happening, at least over the next year. We'll see what happens after that. Dylan's son says, what's your recommend percentage of salary to put into index funds, retirement funds, etc.? Depends. Like, as much as possible, you want to be investing. Like that's just key. Like, invest as much as possible, you know, at all times, like for your whole life. You invest as much as possible for your whole life. Like, as long as you weren't in like some crazy investments or whatnot that went really south, like you're gonna be so rich, it's disgusting, guys. It's like not a complicated game. Like, this is not a complicated game. Like, think about it. Like, if you would have just invest, like when Warren Buffett bought his first stock in the 40s or whatever, I saw something the other day. If you just put like, I think it was $100 or $500 into like a basic mutual fund or an index fund that tracks the S&P, when he bought his first stock in the 40s, it'd be worth 51 million today. 51 million from $500. Like, think about that, guys. Like, imagine, you know, 20, 30, 40 years from now, what that money's going to be worth. Imagine if you can put 10,000 a month, 20,000, you know, or not a month. That'd be really good if you can do that. But let's say 10,000 a year or 20,000 a year. Like, imagine what the numbers are going to add up to. It's not a complicated game. Let's see what else we got here. Nicholas Johnson says, what sites do you use for company stock news? Could you, basically the Stock Tracker app is my main one. CNBC app is the next thing I use. Yahoo Finance a little bit. Bloomberg a little bit, but honestly, at the end of the day, mostly Stock Tracker app, mostly CNBC. Seeking Alpha, I use that one a little bit. They're usually up to date on news, and I can just have my stocks in there with news and whatnot. They also have transcripts. They also, you know, people share their opinions on stocks and whatnot. But those are the main ones: Stock Tracker, CNBC, Seeking Alpha. Let's see what else we got here. Do you sell part of your stocks when you get higher than expected outcome, then rebuy them at a lower price? Sometimes, usually if I'm start selling out of a position, usually I have intention to sell out of that position completely. So I don't sell out all at once, usually, unless it's a freak situation. Usually I'll sell out, you know, a portion, 10% or 20% of my shares, and then same thing a few days later or a week later, you know, 10, 20%. Usually my intention is to sell out my shares completely, but let's say I start selling shares because it went up super high, and then for whatever reason the stock went through the floor, you know, and I still love the company, I would probably buy the shares back, honestly. Just depends. So Jeremy, what do you think will happen in the next recession? Is huge amount of recovery? Does it happen? Retail dying? Amazon? Well, who knows? You know, the next time there's a recession, whenever that is, you know, is it going to be a super bad one? No one knows. Like, no one knows. It could be like a really lame recession. Like, sometimes you guys got to remember, like, not all recessions are like 2008 and 2009 recession where it was like dramatic, okay? Sometimes these recessions are like, okay, the stocks go down, you know, 20, 30%, or, you know, the economy gets weak and real estate prices go down a bit. And then, you know, a few months later, a year later, like, things recover just back fine. You know, it just depends, you know, and who knows, it could be worse. Like, there's no way you can predict it. There's no way you can predict it. You just have to kind of adjust as things are going on in those moments. Let's see what else we got here. I invested $4K in total in 2 banks. The dividend is 285 euros before taxes. Okay. Kenneth says, what is your opinion on net stock investing? Not sure what that means, net stock investing. Can you dig up some info on blockchain crypto coins like Cardano? It's possible that I'm pretty sure there's a ton of like YouTube channels that just talk about crypto. Those would probably be better. What do you think about GE stock? We'll talk a little bit about GE stock. It's a mess of a business. Can they recover? Probably. Who knows when it will happen? Is it years from now? And when they do recover, if they do recover, like what type of company is that? Is that like a stock worth $20, $30? I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on GE. A lot of people are into that one. I think just because it's just like a big company that, I don't know. I'm just not into that stock. What platform do you buy and sell stocks on? Fidelity. What's your opinion on biopharmaceutical companies? Risky. Usually biopharma companies are risky. It's funny. Biopharma, what weed stocks represent now, biopharmaceutical companies used to represent like the high risk, high reward. Like, oh, this could be big, or it could be, something that, craps out and you lose a lot of money. So, not really my style at all. All those, there are certainly some biopharmaceutical companies that, make good profits and whatnot, but a lot of them, it's hype. And it's like, oh, we could come out with this thing that's going to be huge and we are in this stage of trials and whatnot. And a lot of it's hype. So just be careful there. Let's see what else we got. Let me get a little more current here. I'm trying to hold back these comments because it's like insane amount. How do you feel about Visa? Is it a buy right now? Don't have a strong opinion on Visa, to be honest. Are they going to be probably still highly relevant? Profits, probably. But I haven't looked into Visa too seriously lately. A company like Visa, sometimes you guys ask me about some of these companies, and like I want to be in companies that have huge growth potential. Like Visa, does it really have huge growth potential? Or in a business that it's so easy for me to see, that company doubling their profits from here, that I can just invest in that from there. A lot of these companies, it's like, a company like Visa, is it really that easy to see that company is going to be able to double their profits in, let's say, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe it's just not in my circle of competence. Let me know. Aloha from Hawaii, bro. Keep up the great videos. Thank you. I will do. What's up, Jeremy? Hello. What do you think? What do you think of a website with a Amazon affiliate? I think it's phenomenal. If you know a lot about Google keywords, you can get your site ranked and do things like top 10 cameras and top 10 smartphones and top 10 smartphone cases and top 10 iPhone 10 cases and all those type of things. And you got all your opinion on there, and the site looks real good, and you got all your Amazon affiliate links, and people click on them, and you can make a lot of money from that stuff because people are always searching that type of stuff. Another way is YouTube. You don't even have to do an actual website. You can post YouTube videos just all around that, and in the description or in the pinned comment have all your Amazon affiliate links. People click on those videos all the time looking for top 10 stuff. I started a regular guy tech channel, right? It's called. And like that channel, I don't even like post videos, and it still gets like I think a couple hundred views a day, like and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in those type of things. I noticed that investors at BBY are quite bullish. Why is everyone so excited about that stock? I don't know. I haven't heard anybody be excited about that stock. Maybe I'm just missing out on that one. I haven't heard anybody be excited about that stock. What's your view on American national debt? It just keeps going, man. It just keeps going, and they just keep piling it up, and it is what it is. It just, how it goes. Let's see. How do you feel about investing while paying off student loans? Well, the thing you got to think about is what's your student loan interest rate? Okay, that's something you always got to think about. If it's above 5%, let's say, like 3 or 2% or something like that, maybe it's better to invest. Because remember, if you invest in stocks, the stock market on average goes up around 8% per year. So that's kind of the way I always like to think about it, But you got to make that decision for yourself. What are the best prospects of Goldman Sachs? Well, Goldman Sachs is a low PE company, so it's cheap, first off. Second, all this trading volatility, they make bank on that. Like you look at the profits they had in the last quarter, unreal. They blew numbers out of the water. That stock should be a $300+ stock right now, and it's like 230 or 240 or whatever. It's crazy. And then also, it's just a business that they find ways to make money regardless whether the market's going up, whether we're in a recession. Like they just are profit machines, man. Profit machines over there. How would you invest 1 million? I'd probably just diversify it around the stocks I currently own. Let's see what else we got here. Planet Fitness is up huge this year, trading at a high PE. Wondering what your thoughts on this company are. It's a gym. If it's trading at a high PE, and I don't know how high the PE is because I haven't looked in the company, I would say that might be a little crazy. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know they got their way of marketing, which is like, if you're a tough guy and you want to be loud and whatnot, you can't be at Planet Fitness. And it's probably a smart marketing strategy for a lot of people. But who knows? It's one of those companies that, if I recall, I think their membership fee to join is pretty low. So then you can think about it. Well, what if they could just raise that $5? On all their members or whatnot? How many members would they lose versus gaining? So who knows? Maybe it's a straight profit machine over the coming years. But I haven't looked into it in depth to really give a full opinion on it. Why is everyone so? Someone asked about Best Buy again. I don't know if that's the same person or whatnot that I asked earlier, but. That I don't know. How long does it take you to read a 10K? Probably an hour. And the only reason it's an hour is because I've read so many in my time that I can read really fast, like through all the financial information and whatnot. And then also I know what parts are like crap to not read and what and whatnot. So honestly, I can probably go through a 10K in an hour. Maybe if I'm not going through so fast or I'm really taking my time, maybe 2 hours. Let's see what else we got. I'm trying to get up in the comments a bit here. Should we wait for Dan H says, should we wait for a market crash or invest now? It's up to you, man. It's up to you. I can tell you, I've heard people saying that since, 2010. People are like, oh, I'm going to wait for a stock market crash to happen and I'm going to start investing. And then 2011 came and they said the same thing in 2012 and 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. And they'll still be saying in 2019 and for all the years in the future. And meanwhile, us that have been in the market and done well, we've made, unbelievable amounts of money and they've been on the sideline, probably just spending that money and just being broke or whatever. So it's up to you. It's up to you. You can wait for it and try to time it out. But Adam says, hey, how would you invest $400? I would, invest in yourself. Like those are the amounts of money, like invest in yourself, invest in your own knowledge, whether it be books or courses or things like that. Like just learning at those stages, I think it's more important than honestly trying to, because what are you going to invest that? You invest that money into something and then maybe you make it into $500. Okay, big deal. You invest in yourself and you learn something, a skill or something like that can make you tons of money, that maybe can make you an extra $4,000 a month to invest. Now all of a sudden we're talking, man. So invest in yourself. I'm with you now in the GE. I'm trying to get up in these comments a bit. Are you interested in venture capital? No. I think Jeremy's new stock is an oil stock. Interesting. I'm not going to comment on it. Jeremy, do you think Tesla can win from the huge mainstream media companies that are trying to talking negative about it all the time? Yeah, I think Tesla's going to win long term. Absolutely. Why do you think Goldman Sachs is still dropping in price even though there are great earnings they just reported? Mark says, I don't know. You never know. Some stocks are just erratic. And then some stocks, that report bad earnings go up a ton. It's just the stock in the short term, you can't worry about stocks too much. Like it's just going to cause you to your brain to explode if you are always worried about, why is this stock not going up? It should be going up. And absolutely that is the case with a stock like Goldman Sachs. It should be a $300+ stock right now. And it's at 230, 240 or whatever. It is what it is. That's all I got to say. You can't worry about it and who knows. Is OLED bouncing back pretty soon, do you think? It's not a stock I track heavily. Jade Swanson says at Financial Education. Jeremy, how did you become such a legend? You are a true champion. Thank you for the nice compliment there. I appreciate that. Ardanash says, in a recession, would you start placing puts? Absolutely. If I felt things were going to get really ugly, short-term puts, That would be where I'm playing at a lot. I would be doing that much more than shorting stocks and things like that. I'd be buying a lot of short-term puts. And then once I felt like recovery was probably going to start coming soon, I would start going long shares again. But not just long shares, I would be going long call options that are dated out 1 to 2 years out. That's what I would be doing. Snapchat's management, Hyper Gaming says, not good, not good. They're I don't know. I think that CEO got his head too big or something. That's all I got to say. He's made a lot of mistakes there, and not listened to the core consumers of the service. Someone says, the way I see it, if Amazon, Apple, Costco, Walmart, etc. grows, Visa and MasterCard will grow. Yeah, that could be. Hey, Jeremy, how do you find a good lawyer? I don't know, like search online and see ratings of people or talk around with people. I don't know. Let's see. Hey, great channel. Was just wondering how you buy your stocks as a beginner. Did you buy them in one lump sum or steady? I would just buy as I got money. So I would like wait till I had at least, I think I was wait until I had at least 250 or 500. I think it was $500 at a time. I ended up starting to do. So I'd save up $500 and then I would invest that money, and then save up another $500 and invest that money. And I did that for quite a while until I got that job at started, being able to put $1,000 every 2 weeks or $1,000 every 3 weeks into my accounts, and I really started bumping it up. And then I started doing everything in $1,000 or $1,500 increments. But yeah, at first it was just like $500 increments. But you guys can do it a little different, because if you use Robinhood, there's no trade commission. So it doesn't even really matter. You can just, if it's $50 at a time, $100 at a time, like it doesn't matter. For me, there was trading commissions. When I first started, it was $19.95 every time you bought or sold shares. Regardless if it was 1 share, 1,000 shares, it didn't matter. And then they lowered it to $10 a trade. Now it's $5 a trade, but yeah, a lot of you guys that have Robinhood, though, it doesn't even matter. You don't have a trade commission. You can just keep funneling money in. All right, let's see what we got here. David, do you get much free time? I do. I'm obviously really busy, but I get all the time in the world to spend with my kids and whatnot. We were just at the park like an hour or two before I got on this live stream with my kids and whatnot. So yeah, I certainly do have free time. I'm very busy, but it's like not like, oh, I don't have any time to do anything. No, I still make time for what I want to make time for. Let me get up in the comments here, get to the newer ones. Finance Daily, thank you for the $5 super chat. I'll go video for video with you. Bet you I can beat you through a standard 10K. Yeah. Thank you for that $5 super chat, by the way. Chris says, do you follow Disney and hopefully make the stocks? Are you buying more video? I'm not sure what that's saying, but do I follow Disney? I do follow Disney, and it's a great company. I spoke about it earlier. Basically, Disney, how's that streaming service come out? That's going to be huge for the company. If that company is going to, get another $100 billion on that valuation, it's going to be dependent upon where that streaming service goes. Artem, thank you for the $5 super chat. What do you think of very recent revenue report rise in Applied Materials? It is a 29% from last quarter. Applied Materials is not a stock I track heavily. I know it's a good growth stock and whatnot. It's not a stock I track heavily and whatnot, but I don't know if that's a stock you're involved with. If you are and you made money there, congratulations on that. Teo Poker says, do a video on option strategy and how to size your bets. That would be interesting. The thing is, I'm not like a heavy options trader. Like I'm very selective about my options, okay? I'm not desperate to buy options. When I see a certain opportunity that I think is a huge opportunity for call options or put options, I do place those bets. But it's not like every day or every week or even every month that I'm placing option trades. Usually every month I'm buying shares in companies. But as far as options, I'm very selective about my options. So, it's not something that I worry about a ton. I obviously, have videos on the channel about options and whatnot, but it's not my biggest importance. Let me tell you that. Jake, okay, you already posted that. I got to get up in the comments here. Okay, we're caught up here to the new one. All right. Anonymous Schoolboy, what are the best ways for a 15-year-old to invest in himself? Reading, watching videos, learning from those who have been successful, all that type of stuff. Like, just get as much information as possible. That's all. Get as much information as possible. Nicholas says, do a video on index funds and futures. Okay. See, man, stuff like that, it's like, You know, could I do videos on it and could it get views? Probably, but like I feel like there's so much information already out there, and it's not my style. Like I don't give a shit about fucking index funds and futures, and it's like bullshit. It's like fuck. I'm just kidding. I know, but really, I don't really care about that stuff. Like I hate talking about stuff I don't care about. You know what I mean? Like I gotta feel passionate about it. And like index funds, futures, like so boring. Like it's not my interest. Do I invest in index funds? No. Like so why should I talk about it? You know what I mean? Is it something that's even interesting to me? No. Like why should I talk about it then? Just to talk about it? Just to get you know what I mean? It's just like ugh. All right, let's see. Let's get caught up here. Do you think Snapchat will change their CEO? If I recall, you'd have to look into their 10K, but if I recall, it would be really hard to replace that CEO. Some of these companies now are doing it, so, you know, even if the CEO screws up, good luck getting them out of that place, man. Like, it would take a miracle to get them removed. So, in my opinion, if he would have to step down if he wanted to get removed from the company, because it would be hard to remove him. So, do you recommend a my money in cash? Usually between that, you know, if I don't really like many stocks at a particular time, it may go up to 20, may go up to 30% at a particular time. There have been times, even like I think last year, if there was for a moment, that was really cash heavy. I think it was 30% plus cash. But, you know, that's kind of the way I view it. Like, I always want to have at least 10% of my money in cash, because that way when opportunities, you know, present themselves, I have some money to go out there and buy shares, because it's not every, like I say, 50% of the time, in the short term, stocks are going to go up. 50% of the time, it's going to go down. So if you don't have any money laying around to invest, like that sucks, man, because you own stock ABC. Stock ABC goes down. You don't have any money to invest in it. What do you do? Just watch it go down and have my feelings get hurt? No, I like to be in a position where I got money ready to invest. So if stock ABC goes down, I'm like, okay, I'll buy some more shares for cheaper. It is what it is. So I would say at least 10 to 20%. Just depends on how bullish you are or bearish you are on a particular time. Let's see what else we got here. Let me get caught up here. Did I just try to drink this water with the cap on? Oh my goodness, I need to take this freaking cap off and just leave it off. Let's see what we got here. Jeremy, can I get your thoughts on Toll and LB's debt? Love your videos. So I shared my thoughts on that earlier. First thing, those companies are unbelievably profitable. Second is, you know, both those companies have debt that's due long time from now, okay? Long time from now, and they can refinance that debt at lower rates and things like that. You know, in L Brand's case, they got $2 billion in just in cash on the balance sheet, like $2 billion. Plus, they're bringing in, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in profit per quarter. So, you know, not something that worries me, something that, you know, I do think about. And obviously, I grade balance sheets very high. But when I look at all the positives for those stocks, you know, the fact that their balance sheets are at the strongest in the world, and they're certainly not the weakest in the world. Like, we can go through some companies that got some awful balance sheets, you know, where they got, you know, 10 times, 20 times more debt than they do cash and whatnot. So, you know, not something that keeps me awake at night. EMAT down after earnings just now. Okay. Thoughts on AMD? Should I take profit? I bought it at 960. You know, AMD's a funny stock. I've never really been bullish on it. I've never really necessarily been bearish on it either. I'm just like, that's just a stock I'm indifferent about. You know, a lot of people are just like cult followers of that stock, I call it. Like, they're all about AMD, but AMD's a stock I just don't have a strong opinion on. Some people think that's going to be a $100 stock someday. Some people think, you know, they're just going to be a crap company for a long time. I can tell you the CEO's done a great job turning around the business. It was a stock that was $2 a few years ago. You know, so the fact that I think it's 10 or whatever it is now, it's a phenomenal turnaround there. Let me get caught up on comments here because we're running way behind again. Jeremy, do you think the mainstream media will ever give up trying to bring down Tesla? Well, first off, you know, I do have some conspiracies about that, but at the same time, we don't know for sure they're trying to do that. And at the same time, you know, I don't know, Tesla gets views, so, you know, media is after views, and, you know, it is what it is. So, let's see what else we got here. Thoughts on W Day? Is that work day? If that's work day, I don't really have any thoughts around that one particularly. Which sectors do you feel are undervalued currently? I think semiconductors, for the most part, is the sector that comes to mind immediately when I think about undervalued. Let me think here. Home builders is the other sector that I think is undervalued right now, severely undervalued. Home builders are valued right now like we're about to have a massive recession, which I don't see, coming anytime soon. So, but they're valued like that. And so, when things are valued like that, I look at that as a big opportunity. But semiconductors, home builders, those are the first two sectors overall that I think are undervalued right now. Let's see. Jeremy, tell us how Cruise is a good stock. Watch all my 4 stocks I'm buying videos. I explain in depth. I talk about Cruise like 5-10 minutes every time I do those videos. So watch those in depth. Mostly about voice biometrics chips and things like that, and the fact that they can expand content, get Samsung as a customer, a big time customer, not like Samsung is their customer, but it's like little customer right now. They got a big opportunity to get Samsung back in a big way. So. Jeremy, what do you think about Warren Buffett adds to Apple and Teva Pharmaceuticals? Teva Pharmaceuticals, don't have a big opinion on that, but Apple, I think he's gonna make ridiculous sums of money. He's already up huge on his position on Apple. He started buying Apple, I think it was $107. I think it was $107 or $102 or whatever. And he's gonna make a lot of money over the coming 5-10 years on that one. They got a lot of growth ahead of them as far as the profits go. A lot of dividends are gonna be paid out to him. He's got to make ridiculous sum of money on that. He'll clear $100 billion plus in profit probably within 5 years on that investment. I wouldn't be surprised if he's already cleared tens of billions in profit already. So yeah. Hey Jeremy, the homie says, hey Jeremy, why don't you buy stocks outside the U.S.? Because there's so many opportunities in the States. So many companies in the United States I'm always looking into and there's so many companies here doing big things all the time that it's like it's hard for me to even get out of the United States. Like if I didn't see the opportunity here, I would invest in a lot more international companies. But we look at one of my biggest investments over the past, 2-3 years I was in that stock. Wynn Resorts, okay? Wynn Resorts, technically a U.S. company, but then you look at where their profit comes from. It's an international company. Then 75+% of their profits were coming from Macau. So sometimes I'm investing in a U.S. company, but really it's an international play. In the case of Wynn Resorts, that was basically an international company, despite them being a U.S.-based company here in Vegas, right? Think about L Brands. L Brands has become my biggest stock now. I've been buying that one heavy for the last year or two. What's one of the things I'm most bullish about L Brands? It's the China expansion. It's what they're going to be able to do over the next 5-10 years in China, right? That's a market they just started taking serious 2 years ago. So yeah, it's a U.S. company, but at the same time, one of my main things I'm thinking about with that company is how they're going to expand in China and how big that market's going to be. So sometimes you don't need to necessarily invest in an international company just to get the international opportunity. So that's something you guys got to think about. If you want opportunity in Europe, you don't have to just buy a European company. It might be a U.S. company that's expanding in Europe. You want to buy a Chinese related company. You don't necessarily have to buy a company that's out of China. You could buy a U.S. company that's got a big play on China. Okay. Starbucks shareholders are doing that right now. If you're investing in Starbucks, one of the biggest things you're thinking about is the China opportunity for that company. That's another company that's expanding big over there right now. So, that's what you got to think about. But that's why, guys, there's just so much opportunity here. I don't need to necessarily invest in international businesses. Let's see what else we got here. Let me get caught up. My goodness. Tesla is dangerous. Well, wait till stock market crash. It is a company that definitely has a super high valuation on it, no doubt. What about oil going up, interest rates going up? Are these things going to weigh on stocks? As possible, interest rates, if for companies that are taking out debt, yes, absolutely, that could weigh on stocks. Oil going up, it could, but oil is going to have to go up quite a bit to really weigh on stocks where it starts really affecting earnings. If we start seeing $90, $100 a barrel oil this summer, it could very well affect some companies' earnings, especially a lot of the companies that are in the transportation sector. Some of the companies that, think about the transportation sector for a minute. Trucking is in a situation right now where they don't have enough truck drivers, and these truck drivers have to get paid, very big wages right now just to get them through the door. That's an industry that's like way, I guess you could say, there's just not enough employees there. Okay, there's just not enough employees, so those companies are dealing with that. Then if all of a sudden you tack on $90-$100+ oil this summer, like, man, a lot of those companies could get hurt in a big way. And, it will directly affect some other companies that, ship products all over the place. So, yeah, it absolutely could. What are your thoughts on margin accounts? Bad. Don't mess with margin. I don't care how smart you think you are. Don't mess with them. What do you think about Apple and Facebook? Apple and Facebook, two companies that are going to go up over the next 5-10 years. Two companies that will they have short-term stuff going on, short-term volatility, yeah. But two companies that I almost look at as like no-brainer stocks that are almost like the closest thing to automatic money making over the next 5-10 years. That's kind of the way I think about them. Do you like Caterpillar? I'm not a huge fan of Caterpillar. It's a company I look into time to time. Them and John Deere, I look into them from time to time, and I kind of like start thinking, oh, maybe I'll invest in it, and then I'm like, no, just companies that I'm like, their growth is limited. Caterpillar and Deere, can they get growth? Yes, but there's a certain amount with those type of companies that it's just like they can't go up any further. All right, guys, we're gonna do one last question. We're gonna do one last question. I'm gonna try to find a good one here. By the way, make sure you follow me on Instagram if you don't. Link down there in the description. Make sure you also, if you want to receive discounts on my courses and whatnot, make sure that should be the first link down there in the description. Hopefully there's a description in live stream. I don't even know. Maybe there's not. You can find it in like any of my videos. But anyways, I'm doing like 48-hour flash sales on courses and whatnot once a month. So make sure you join there if you're interested in that. All right, one last question here. What should we do? Let's try to find a good question here. Solar stock, oil price, movie path. Oh boy, we gotta get a good question here, guys. Get your best freaking question out right now. I want a good question. I want something to end it on. We gotta end it on a good question. I want to just end it on a. Okay, that's a good question. Roy Rogers, is Amazon a monopoly? That's a big question. That's like something we could do a full video about. But is Amazon a monopoly? No, not yet. But I will tell you the way that business is going over the next 5-10 years, I think the government's going to come after them hardcore. I think they're going to get to a state where, there was always talk about, is Walmart becoming a monopoly and whatnot. Amazon is going to be like Walmart times like 10, okay? It's going to be ridiculous. So I think government will eventually come after Amazon, and it's going to be an interesting fight to see what happens there. But are they a monopoly right now? No, they're not. But it's going to be an interesting fight, and it's going to be crazy because wait till they start doing $100 billion+ in revenue, which will probably happen per quarter, $100 billion+ per quarter, within a few years. And then wait till they start raising some prices on some things and whatnot, and a ton of retailers will already be dead at that time, and there's not going to be nearly as much competition in the marketplace. And have a great day, and peace.